Okay. I'll have to look for that one.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about bootlegs. We were talking about bootlegs a little while ago, and I've got one. It's a really good audience recording, a bootleg, I guess, rerun style, from what's happening with the tape recorder taped to their ankle or something. But this one's from Chex in Santa Fe Springs, February 21st, 1992, and it's a song that goes all the way back to that second ZEROS single, and this is a live version of "Hose 'Em Down." And that was a live recording from February 21st, 1992 in Santa Fe Springs. That was a ZEROS with "Hose 'Em Down." I'm just wondering, if like live recordings and stuff, how you feel about that. If someone's recorded a show, because there's this whole underground culture that existed for a long time. It's kind of, I think, slowed down a little bit. People don't really trade tapes or CDs the way that they used to.
Yeah. Well, back, when people were doing tapes, when you get it, you're talking about cassettes, right?
Right.
I mean, now it's just like everything is just there on YouTube and, your MySpace page and stuff like that. And people got access now to a lot of stuff. Back then, it was like, people didn't have access. So if somebody came in with a tape player, strapped to their ankle, like you said, and taped the show.
Right.
It was pretty cool because you had this like tape of a band where you could, give it to your friends and trade off and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of times it was the only way you could hear, or in the rare case, if there was a video, I mean, going back way back when, but it was the only time you could really hear some of your favorite bands, or in some bands, you just never heard them live ever unless you actually went to see them. So that kind of tape trading.
I mean, you had the album, and the album was put out by the record company, but when, live was a whole different thing where, like somebody, if a band was playing out in Los Angeles and somebody had a tape, they weren't coming around to Connecticut pretty soon, and you had your friend over in Connecticut and wanted to hear it, that was pretty cool to have a guy go on the show and tape it and be able to get like a live recording.
Absolutely, and that was it. That was the only way to hear it, unless you went to see him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, Sammy,
live's a whole different animal, than studio recording,
Right.
So you got the audience, you got audience participation and stuff like that. So
sure. And some of my favorite recordings of bands come from unofficial, like bootleg recordings. Even for me, it even beats some of the official live stuff, because the bootleg stuff is what really takes you there. It kind of captures that moment, whereas a studio recording of a live concert, Kiss Alive, for example, which was more studio than
you
live.
You can feel the excitement,
right,
of something really happening,
Absolutely. Well, according to the clock behind the bar, Sammy, it's 1:45. That means it's last call and time to say goodbye, as the song goes. Tell us where people can get Zeros music and Sammy Sirius music, where they can download music legally, and where they can buy the CDs.
Well, there's a couple of places. You can go to iTunes, and you can type in the Zeros, and then you could go to cdbaby.com and type in the Zeros, and all our albums will come up on cdbaby.com. And if you want to order any T-shirts or stuff like that, we have you could basically, you can email the Zeros at thezeros.us@aol.com.
Okay.
And we'll answer everybody, and get them what they want. If they want the new record, Zero In, you could get on cdbaby.com, and that's basically it. We have a Facebook page where you can go to Sammy Sirius, Facebook Sammy Sirius, and and then there's Sammy Sirius 2. You can't get on Sammy Sirius 1 because it might be full.
Okay.
So it's Facebook Sammy Sirius 2, TWO.
Okay. And there's one CD there's a CD I saw on cdbaby.com that I didn't even know was out there, the Oh My God Forsaken Vaults of Sammy Sirius and the Zeros, which is all of that old
that's that whole era of 85 where there's a bunch of songs on there that we did, and we actually recorded a lot of those songs in New Jersey.
Okay. Right.
There's Gumby Head on there, Highly Rejected, stuff like that, Going to England. It's pretty fun. It's actually a fun record.
I'm good. I'm
And
definitely.
it actually has the CD that you have, the 45.
Right.
Be a Zero at the end of that record.
Oh, okay.
So it's tagged on there. Be a Zero is actually, the vinyl that you have was put the CD and onto the Forsaken Vaults.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's one I'm definitely going to check out. And speaking, I just had one last question about that 7-inch single too. I noticed on the back where the credits are and the band, the drawings of the band members, there's a guy right in the middle, Decanter, creator, inspiration. Yeah. Who was Decanter?
Well, he was the guy who he was the guy who basically brought the band here from Planet Zero. So he was like our mentor.
Okay.
So how we the Decanter came is a whole other story, but that's who that is, and he's in it's sort of like he's in a lot of the pictures that we did,
So he's made
stuff like that.
He's made other appearances.
He was a mic stand. What?
He's made other appearances on Zero CDs and albums, and he's been around.
Well, yeah, he was the part of the band, and he was called the Decanter, and he was sort of our founding father, mystical person who we looked up to. Only he was. It's kind of fun because he was part of the situation. He's part of the band,
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, Sammy, I want to thank you very much for being on the podcast. It was great talking to you, and great hearing about the Zeros. Just a great band, and everyone should pick up the new CD and go to CD Baby and check out everything else. There's all the Zero CDs are available there, and I just want to thank you very much for being here. And we'll look for the Zeros shows coming up in the future. It could happen. Just keep looking for them. It might be there, and definitely it sounds like in 2012 there'll be another Zero CD as well.
Yeah, we'll be putting out another Zero CD, and we'll be playing in New Jersey, around there, where you're from, and pretty soon, and getting out there,
Well, we will.
On the record.
We'll definitely look for it. So we'll leave you with a very appropriate song from 4321 The Zeros. This is Good Night.
It's getting closer to that time again. Time to say